Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let's go through our list here. Okay. So everyone got their scan, right? We all got that. Who saw? So what we're looking at on there is muscle, right? Whether it stayed the same or went up. So go ahead and take a look at that. So go to history on the top there. And then yes, we'll look from last week. Okay. Okay. Then let's get on Monday. Okay. You can compare the last ones. Although it won't have this week. But yeah, that's fine. And so we scroll down to skeletal muscle mass, and we should look there and see, did the muscle stay about the same or go up? If it's coming down, who went up? Awesome. Okay. You see it special? Okay, we might have to fix that. Oh, your phone. That's right. Okay, there you go. You can see there. So click on skeletal muscle mass there. Yes, it went up. Rosemary, how about you?
I don't know what I'm looking for.
So we're going to go right down here. Skeletal muscle mass. Stayed about the same. It went up a little bit. Cool.
Did it go up?
65 to 57.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at the graph.
Then we're going to scroll down here. So then scroll down to the next one. It says body fat mass. And our goal for that is to come down. Right? Anybody who saw it come down? The body fat mass. Looks like everybody, right? I looked at yours already, Paul. So great. That's what we want, right? Rather than paying attention, you may see the scale doing weird things, right? If you're checking at home, but we want to always look down to muscle mass and body fat mass. And if body fat mass is going down and muscle is going up, we're doing the right things.
I have a question. Yeah. So I'm looking at this, and it said the visceral fat went up 0.5.
So it won't show the 0.5 on this machine. So that's from an old scan.
It's today, I think. Oh, maybe it is.
You have to scroll to here to see this machine.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that's from the other machine. We just have those numbers, 10 and so on, are times 100. Yeah, cool. Protein, we talked a little bit about that. So we calculated that protein goal last time. Who did well at hitting it? Yeah, we did pretty good. How'd we do? Special.
My goal was 140, and I would get about 100.
Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, good.
I was better.
You got better. Okay.
70 to 90.
Okay.
90 days.
And you were at you were pretty low before, huh?
Yeah, because I'm a carb craver.
Okay, right. Beverly, how do we do getting the protein in? Okay. Typically, if that muscle's coming up, it means we got enough protein, right? And we got enough exercise to build that muscle. If we're still a little shy on that number, keep working towards it. Oftentimes it does take us a little bit of time to actually get to that goal, if we're so used to being a lot less. Okay. Yes?
I don't remember. I think they showed me to see the average throughout the thing.
Yes.
On that.
Yeah, so if we're on MyFitnessPal, who's tracking on MyFitnessPal? Right? Okay. So you can click on right here, and then change it to week view. Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Cool. Number of workouts. So our goal was to get 5 to 6 workouts. Who got 5 to 6 workouts? Cool. Ish. How many we get? So anything that's more than you are doing on a normal scheduled basis. So if walking is your workout, right, then that could qualify. If you're going out of your way, getting that heart rate up, that would qualify, right? It's a little different for everybody. If we're used to doing running and lifting and all that, then walking wouldn't necessarily fit there, right? Cool. So 5 to 6 workouts. 4. Awesome. Good. How did it do, Beverly? Good. Okay. Working on. Okay. Yes, I get it. Sleep. So our goal for sleep is 8 hours or more, right? But who hit anywhere above 7? Nice. Average. Okay. Cool. How about 6? Okay, it's cool. And then below 6. So the sleep does become, and Paul and I were talking about this. The sleep can be it make you feel a lot different, right? Like if you're used to getting 7 hours and all of a sudden we get 6 or 5, generally we feel a lot less energy, more bloated, right? Just not good. But if once we start getting that 7, 8, 9 hours, and we'll talk about sleep later weeks, but we start to process our food better, our sugars respond more. Like there's a whole bunch of benefits there. Okay. And then off plan. Who ate off plan one time? Okay, 2 times? 3 times?
I did it by
Okay.
accident.
That's fine.
Right?
Right?
I was like, my mouth feels gross.
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap.
Okay.
Filled with sugar.
Yeah. And oftentimes that's what happens, right? You're like, oh no, I hate this. But the whole point of checking on off plan items, right, is okay, so we ate off plan 3 times or around there. Did you still get results? We all got results this week, right? So it kind of shows us you're aiming for 100% like we talked about last week, but well, we got a little bit less than 100%. We hit that like more 80-20 or something around there, and you're getting results. And so that's the point. We can be imperfect as long as we're still aiming for perfect, right? And we'll still see results. And then was anybody hungry? Hungry, yeah? Okay. If you're hungry, and we'll talk a little bit more about this week, eat more, right? There's no, we don't want you to limit yourself because that's your body telling you, oh, I need energy, I need something to keep me going. So eat more. Okay? Eat the stuff that's on plan, but go for it. You shouldn't be hungry during this whole program. And this week, we're going to talk about fruits and vegetables and how much ideally we're working to get, and you'll feel more full. I promise. Okay. So just to kind of, yeah. Yes, there is. Thank you. I will make sure you guys all get it. So just to revisit, right, now that you've gone through a week of that box, the whole purpose, create that rigid box to stay within, which will inspire problem solving and creativity, both of which will lead to sustainable habits for your nutrition in the future. Right now, it's probably not as easy, right? You're trying to find different ways to do things, and we want to do the hard thing now, figure out what to do, what to adjust and get to, so that later on it's easy, right? We put in the work now, we don't have as much difficulty later. Okay. Did anybody come up with any okay, I wanted this, but I had this and it was kind of similar? Any creative things? I know Special's been working on it.
I really wanted to salad. So when I couldn't use mayonnaise, then I used Greek yogurt. It's Josh recommended it. And what? You couldn't tell. I was just
There you go.
But then I got tired really fast.
Okay. Yeah. But it worked. Good. Good. Awesome. Anybody else? What? Mm-hmm. And how'd it go? Mm-hmm. And it was for a sweet craving that you're going for? Yeah. That's also where, like we talked about, some of those protein bars can be they're like candy bars, right? If you're really, really craving something sweet. But dates are probably a better option when we're looking at that.
Filch, incredible bars.
Right.
Pretty pricey, but they're amazing.
They're like marshmallows with chocolate around them, pretty much. Yeah, so those cravings are real, right? Especially if we're so used to having a bunch of carbs and sweets. Those are the things using now so that we kind of ease even more off of them, right? And it's also going to help you get your protein if it's a protein bar.
Yeah, we kind of discovered something we eat a lot of raw almonds and cashews.
Okay.
It turns out a cup of raw almonds or cashews or combined is equivalent to 20 grams of protein. So we did half of that, and we ate 1 date and half a banana.
Okay, in the combo.
It was just the 3 together.
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
kind of nibble on the date. Almonds and cashews.
Yeah.
And
So
we got protein and
exactly.
craving was taken care of.
Yeah. So there's a reason that people like salty and sweet, and we go for those things because like when we have cravings, all those things are typically sweet or salty or the combo, right? So you basically took those down to the base ingredients. So I'm gonna have nuts, I'm gonna have banana, I'm gonna have a date. Put it all together, and it's like a healthy version of what you're looking for.
Yeah,
right?
we monitor
Yeah.
our sodium.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it was nice to just have raw,
right.
unsalted.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome. Good job. Cool. So yeah, keep looking for those creative solutions, right? And this is where, like, ask somebody else who's doing this, give us a text, search on ChatGPT, like, hey, I want this, but what can I have on plan? So that you can come back to that in the future. And you're like, oh, I want this, but let's see what else I can do. Okay. Yes.
Okay, came out a report that
Yeah.
2/3 of the proteins on the market
I know.
contain high levels of zinc,
Yeah.
and the two big culprits were Garden of Life
Hmm.
and Momentous.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
They mentioned one that was good, but I don't remember.
And that kind of goes back to, like we were talking about, they're supplements, not typically trying to be replacements, right? So yeah, if we're having protein powders and protein bars and that's all the protein we're getting, then maybe we'd be a little more concerned there, right? If you're having it occasionally, right, the reports aren't great, but it's not going to be as big of a problem if we're just using it as a little bit of a supplement. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
The recipe, whatever that recipe is,
Uh-huh.
I did one that was like date, cacao, and coconut.
Okay, yeah.
That's on plan,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously you shouldn't have tons of it.
Right.
So what is, you know,
So,
we didn't eat it.
right, the on-plan, like, treats, right, or brownies or muffins or things like that, that's a good point, right? Like, because you can still certainly overeat them. It's a lot harder to, because you make a brownie and it's like, this is 100 calories of on-plan stuff versus a normal brownie is like 300, 400. Probably still not looking to have that 3 times a day, right? Maybe a little piece of it at night if you want that dessert would be fine. Yeah. And part of the understanding, like what's good, what's bad, or what's on plan, what's off plan, is also experimenting, because you're coming back every week. And it's like, okay, this week I had on-plan treats every single day, or I had on-plan treats twice a day. And then you come back and scan, and you're like, well, that didn't work, right? Or that worked, and I'm okay, right? So it's understanding that part of things too. Yeah. Cool. So so we had our protein focus last week. This week is all about fruits and vegetables. Okay. Let me give you this handout now. So our fruits and vegetables, I think we all can agree, are good for us, right? And we'll talk about why. Here we go. Cool. I'll just take one and pass it around. This will come more into play later. But so when we talk about fruits and vegetables, there's different studies that talk about how much fruits and vegetables are beneficial for our health, right? And our goal is going to be focusing on getting 800 grams of fruit and vegetables. And the reason that 800 grams comes into play, you look up here, there's the biggest study that we had about it was a meta-analysis. That means they took all these different studies, figured out the results, and put them all together, right? In this case, it was 95 studies, including 2 million participants. So quite a bit, right? And what they found across the boards there was that consuming 800 grams a day, or about 10 servings, 10 cups of fruits and vegetables, was linked to significant health benefits. We always want to look at, like, what were those benefits?
Serving is a half a cup.
So that's why we go back to it. It's about 10 servings.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I misspoke on my cups, but we'll talk about what it may look like as far as when we're measuring it and everything too.
Oh.
Okay. So yeah, we want to look at what were those health benefits, because if it's, I had softer skin, not necessarily a health benefit, right? I mean, maybe it is, but these were like big benefits. Heart disease, down 24%. And that's a quarter, right? Stroke, down a third, 33%. Cancer, 13%. And then all-cause mortality, so any cause of death, down 31%. And the other thing is it was a dose-response relationship, meaning you eat more, you get more benefits, right? They found those benefits up to 800 grams. Beyond that, it was kind of like, you're doing great. Like, it's going to keep providing those benefits. Meaning some people, if they were eating 200 grams, had a little bit of benefit, but once we got to that 800, it was like, these are big benefits. And so, I mean, the bottom line is more plants equals more health, right? And pretty significant health with that. Anybody surprised by this? Right? No. It is a lot. We're going to learn how much that is, right? And so, you know, I think our next slide has the next steps. So we'll come back to that. The one thing, like when we look at our fruits and vegetables, we've got all our different vitamins in there. We've also got what are called micronutrients, which are our vitamins. Vitamins, minerals, everything we can think of is built into those. And they are carbs. Fruits and vegetables are carbs. Everyone know that, right? So basically, if you were used to eating carbs before, we're not taking away your carbs, we're just changing them, right? We're getting a more complete, healthy version of them. And we're doing it for the purpose of getting you more health, right? So that's where this comes in. As far as this week, our goal is to get 800 grams of fruits and vegetables. Doesn't matter what fruit and vegetable is, right? The on plan means literally any fruits and vegetables, including beans, including potatoes, anything you can think of with those. Right? We don't count dried fruits in this because they're kind of taking everything out of that. And here's where it says here. Processed corn, as in, let's say you take corn, grind it down, and put it in a tortilla. No, that's not a vegetable anymore, right? Fried veggies. So if you're having like fried okra, all that stuff, no, right? French fries, potato chips, they're not vegetables anymore. It takes everything out of them. Nuts and seeds, although they're on plan, keep having them. They don't count towards your fruits and vegetables. And then dried fruit, like I said. And so this week is all about understanding how much that is. So yes.
Don't forget spices.
Spices don't weigh very much, though, right? But yes, there's some spices. They put some, they have garlic in there. They have peppers in there. All of those things. You can weigh after you spice it if you want that extra gram or two. And so today, and this is where typically if you have a scale, this is going to be the time to use it, right? And so weigh and figure out all your fruits and vegetables for the week. One thing that I've typically done in the past is I've gotten a Post-it note and put it on my fridge. And so as I'm going, like I get my lunch together, weigh it, write it down on the fridge, and just add it up, right? And you'll find like, okay, I had an apple, it's 100 grams. So then I can just assume most of my apples are probably about 100 grams. Same thing with bananas. Like most of our fruits, you can more or less estimate once you have the weight of one of them, unless you have like a really big apple. And so that's the game for the week, is seeing how much that is. This is where you'll find I'm not hungry, because 800 grams is quite a bit. If you're having like solid fruits and vegetables, it's about 8 cups. If you're having the leafy greens and things, they don't really count as a cup because they're really light. Right? If you're used to just having salads all the time, this is really hard to get. So beef up your salads. If you're having that, throw some carrots in there, throw some cucumbers, throw some heavy stuff, because those are going to add up more. Yeah? And like I said, no restriction on what you're having. If you want all fruit to be 800 grams, go for it. Right? We haven't run into issues. And that was the other thing. The studies didn't specify fruit or vegetables. It was fruit and vegetables. Yeah.
Does it matter the way we prepare it? So I roasted carrots. So should I weigh it before or after I roast it?
It doesn't ultimately matter. I typically will do after. Yeah.
That's a good question, because even chicken, just adding that back
right.
before and after weight, it
yeah.
plays
Right. I know.
All of us are like 10 grams different.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
the
she
key word was cook.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically, like just pick what you always are logging and stick to it. Right. So I typically do after cooking. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the game. Measuring, weighing, keeping track. You don't have to. I mean, you can log it in MyFitnessPal if you're logging, but just seeing, okay, this is how much I need to get and hit it this week. But the other half is don't lose that protein, right? Keep everything we've done before, just add in those fruits and vegetables. And so it's really going to be a lot of food. You'll find out, right? Just how much that actually looks like in your day to day.
Yeah, we noticed that. We saw the bill from Costco. I'm like, whoa.
You're like, wait a minute. Yeah. And like talking about costs and everything, thinking about it as I'm investing in my health, right? Like, yes, it's a little more expensive, but I'm getting, long-term health benefits. I'm not having to worry about that hospital bill or that medication or whatever it may be because you're building health. So why is it that fruits and vegetables we can eat so much of, right? I want to talk a little bit about this because, like you mentioned, right, we've got our processed carbs and then we've got all these carbs. It has to do with, number one, our fiber that's in those micronutrients like we were talking about, that's in our fruits and vegetables. Because so many people are like, oh, I can't have fruit though, right? Because it's full of sugar. It's not true. We can have fruit because of all the fiber in it. So what that does, and what these non-processed versions of carbs are doing, is helping to, because it's got all those extra things, it's keeping our sugars a lot more stable. And so if we look at this, this is a graph and this shows our blood sugar. If we're having fruits and vegetables, blood sugar is normally sitting here, right? We eat something, it comes up. It's a normal response. Anybody's blood sugar is going to come up, but it's only going to come up within this green range. It's never getting this huge spike because it's got all the fibers. It's like your body's having to process it and it's making it nice and ultimately level, right? We're never falling outside that range. We also don't get the lows because of that same reason. But when we look at these things, so our processed things, our French fries, our donuts, our sodas, even our grains, right? A lot of them. So if we're sitting here, we eat something on that side, we spike way up out of the normal range. And then the other half of it is we crash way down out of the normal range, right? And that's where we get that like sugar crash. Like, I need a nap now. And then you come way back up because you eat something that, once again, is processed and you're tired. And then you come way back down. It's this roller coaster. Right? You've all probably felt that roller coaster. And so that's where these come in handy. Right? We're going to stay nice and stable rather than this up and this down. And really, we don't feel too great when we're having these anyway. But that's all because of fiber.
It seems to me like those spikes, the dips, and what have you,
Mm-hmm.
it would create more havoc on the body, right? You know, like
100%.
now your body's like having to adjust to the high, to the low.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, and that's where, like, a lot of times as we're looking at someone who's like, well, we might have some sugar issues, we might have this or that. The symptoms, until we do the blood testing, it's symptoms, right? It's, oh, I have issues with energy levels and fatigue. I get these post-meal crashes. Maybe I don't sleep as well at night. My mood's all off. And so those are all things, or I urinate more, or I'm really hungry. Those are all things that point us, okay, well, there's probably something going on with the sugars. And it's because that body's having to do like this whole process of controlling them, right? And recovering from the highs and from the lows. And you can see here, like, this also talks a little bit about just the tissue damage we get from having prolonged blood sugars that are not in range. So what happens, if you think of in your body, we have our vessels, right? And sugar is essentially like sandpaper in there. So as it's going through, it starts to damage things. So we start to get damage to the skin, we get damage to the joints. And then as it gets even worse, it goes down to those little tiny vessels like the kidneys and the eyes and all of those. And so ultimately, if we can keep these in this range, we avoid the tissue damage, we avoid all those issues, and we're healthier for it, right? And we feel better. Like ultimately, you can't see your blood work every day, but if you can feel better and know you're looking better and you're like, well, I'm doing the right things. Okay. Any questions on this? Ultimately, it's these guys and not these guys. Anybody surprised by that? No, right? We all kind of know that, but knowing a little bit more about why these are going to be more beneficial here. Okay. And this is just gives you a little bit more insight as to like what we can get from our fruits and vegetables versus other things. So, we could look at this and we're like, oh, I didn't eat that much. I had a Egg McMuffin, 480 calories. And you look down here and you're gonna be pretty full off this if you can eat it all, right? And that was only 360 calories. So the size of our, like, way different here, right? This comes with way more for our body. The other thing, all that fiber, all that water, is gonna fill us up too, right? We're gonna feel that fullness. And this, we're probably hungry, a little bit later, right? And we're gonna have even more. This is I didn't have time. Well, instead of going through the drive-thru and getting your 870 calories, we can go through the grocery store, pick up a quick prepackaged salad, get some of those tuna. You probably want to change some of your flavors, but and you throw it together, and you get that together in 5 minutes once you bought it. 5 minutes in the store, 5 minutes in home, pretty quick, and way less calories and way more nutrition. And then this is just one more example, right? That muffin that you have in the morning, what are we ultimately getting from that? Mostly sugar and a bunch of processed carbs. And it's 570 calories. This is about 570 calories, but it's 2 pounds of fruit, which is pretty crazy. And so, like, when we talk about being hungry on this plan, there should be no reason for it, right? We can have 2 pounds of fruit if you choose to, and it's giving you way more in your stomach than that muffin right there. Yeah, cool. Right. It's pretty drastic, right? And you'll start to recognize just how much 800 grams looks like. So this week it's like, okay, if you were hungry at all last week, just pile on more of those fruits and vegetables. Okay, I think that's our last slide here. Yeah. Questions? So this week you've got this list here, right, of everything that counts and doesn't count on your 800 grams. So that's your focus of the week, but you're still keeping that protein and you're still keeping on your do's and don'ts. Right? Yes. It would be considered an added sugar. Yeah. It takes everything else out there. Yeah. So I know you were thinking of a list of questions. Did you?
I was thinking of a list of questions because I was like taking inventory of like my home and like what I had, and then as I was figuring out my questions, I realized that I was the drama and I had to.
That you were the drama.
I was the drama.
Okay.
And a lot of it came down to like, no, that wasn't on plan. Because like one of my questions I had was like about the veggie broth that I was looking for. So I talked to Monique about it, and I like went to the grocery store, and it was like really hard to find veggie broth that had protein, but it had like one carb or something like that. So technically that's off plan, but I was like, and then
well, that's where the ingredients come in, right? Because if it's just vegetables in the ingredients, then it's on plan.
Okay,
right?
Didn't have any added sugar or anything.
Yeah, because vegetables will give you carbs, right? Yeah.
That's why you leave.
Yeah.
I just wanted, like, if you buy bone broth at Costco, they have it in the refrigerated section. It's like the gelatinous one. If you make soups with that, like veggie soups, that'll add a ton of protein.
Right.
Because, like, I made a soup with mushrooms, just the bone broth, like some salt, pepper, and a little bit of chicken, and it has 40 grams of protein a serving. And it's like a little bowl. And so it's like it adds a lot. So and it doesn't taste very different.
See, and now I'll be okay with that because at first that's why I was doing the veggie broth, because
Yeah.
my husband was like, let's do bone broth, and I was like, I don't want to do bone broth because I'm a vegetarian. So, and it also like I knew the restrictions, and then I lived in a bubble, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew it was really hard, which is why I made the exception. But then now doing this, I was like, okay, my fitness goals that I want to be, I need to add bone broth
And understand. Yeah.
to make it better.
Yeah.
So thank you
Good.
for that suggestion.
Cool.
And honestly, the gelatinous one is the best quality.
Yeah.
The powdered stuff, you're like, you don't know what's in there.
Right.
And if it's actual like bone broth, it should be like the jelly kind. And then once it's warmed up, it's fine. It's
Right.
not
Then it's not jelly anymore.
What about like, I was
Yeah.
looking at something to
It
eat,
doesn't
and it had like everything was like it had 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of fat, and 1 gram of carb. Like the
Mhm.
protein has to outweigh everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And as long as, I mean, if there's extra ingredients in there. Right. So if there's no extra ingredients, if it's just fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, or meat, then you can eat it regardless of what the label says.
And then am I overthinking the whole nut thing? Because like I have pistachios unsalted.
Uh-huh.
They're roasted and unsalted still in the shell.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
they give you
You can have them. Yeah, that's where it's a nut or seed, you can have it. Yep. You're just being, yeah, you're just being critical. There you go. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Observant, yeah.
I was just like
Awesome.
in my pantry, and I was just all like, this ain't pistachios, but it has more. But I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it anyway because it's a pistachio.
Right. So the primary, like when we're looking at our do's and don'ts, if it's a meat, fruit and vegetable, nut or seed, it's on. Like regardless of what that label says. Most of them don't have a label, but some of them do, right? If it's not one of those things or there's extra ingredients, then the protein needs to outweigh everything else. Yep. Cool. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, good job this week. Everyone's scans look great. So let's keep doing it, right? We'll be back same time next week. And it's the 4th week, right? Next week. We're diving into fitness a little bit more, and exercise, and keep going. Cool? Sounds good. And the other thing, if you do want, you can come before, and there will be a different discussion, kind of getting outside of just the on-ramp stuff, right? So more about like motivation and things with that. So that would be before class, and then after class is the exercise discussion. Cool? Yes. No, because you're signed up for Quick Cut. Yeah. Okay. Great. Good job.